Hey everybody, and welcome to On Night New York City. We have a very special meetup tonight about the next generation of smart glasses. We have some outstanding speakers that are behind some of the latest smart glasses in the market. Guppy, let's put up the slides. Next slide. Here you have a quick peek into some of the next generation glasses that we'll talk about today. I hope you're all really doing well on this snowy day in New York City. Happy Easter, happy Passover, happy Ramadan to all. And a big shout out to the people of Ukraine. Our hearts are with you. Next slide. Thank you all for joining us here on All Live. Please do share in the chat where you're joining us from. Just quickly about All Live, it was launched 3 months ago as a free platform for the entire XR community, featuring a non-stop stream of online XR events like this meetup. So definitely check out some of the events that are recorded, as well as some of those who are planned in the next few days. Next slide. On-night meetups, which are now running in 27 cities around the world, including the latest editions in Seoul and even Nairobi, Kenya, are also hosted here, so you won't have to look anywhere else. Everything is happening right here. Next slide. Every week, you'll see great podcasts about the latest news, some cool interviews, and again, meetups from different locations around the world. Next slide, Guppy. And once you're here, check out some of the awesome people on the platform. There are nearly 8,000 XR professionals on All Live now. So you can access it from the people directory on the right-hand sidebar and connect, just a single click. You can connect via chat or video. And if you're up for meeting new folks, the smart matchmaking feature will actually recommend you XR professionals that you can meet based on your profile selections. All right, next slide. Our big in-person events are approaching quickly. AWUSA 2022 is in June, and tomorrow the early bird rates expire, so take the opportunity to get the lower price before it expires. And to sweeten the deal, since you're all members of On Night or the On Night community, use code that is here on the slide for an extra 20% discount on the event. Oh, and also I'm glad to announce that the Audi Awards 2022 nominations have been published and voting is now open. So please go ahead and vote for your favorite projects. You can find it on the awexr.com website. We also have AW Asia in China coming up in August. Hopefully the lockdown will be over by then. And also AW EU is coming back this October in Portugal, our new city for this year. So we're really excited about that. And let's move on to the next slide. AW Academy also continues to offer classes and workshops for the XR community by some of the top instructors in the industry. We have this Friday, Web AR workshop for anyone who wants to harness the power of the web for AR experiences. And it's at the crazy price of $49 for a seat. So if you're into it, definitely take advantage of this opportunity. We also have the workshop for startup founders that could help them get a boost for their fundraising process. And also a HoloLens masterclass that is presented by the XR Bootcamp, which will start later this year. And since you are now part of this incredible community, let's get social, all right? So follow us on Twitter, check out our YouTube channel with the largest collection of videos about AR and VR. And if you go to our website, you can't miss our weekly digest of news, of the latest news in AR and VR. You can get in on Friday in your inbox. So sign up for the weekly spatial news. All right, next slide. Now we're ready to meet the next generation of smart glasses. Again, don't forget to share your thoughts in the chat. We're looking for, your questions, your comments. And next slide will show you our contestants for today. So as I said, some of the most innovative smart glasses in the market. Unfortunately, Kelly is not able to join us today. She had a really good excuse, investor meetings today. So we'll hope to have her next time. But we have Stan Larroque, CEO of LYNX, Jeri Ellsworth, CEO of Tilt 5, Steve Sinclair, SVP of Mojo Vision. So you have really a great collection of some of the different techniques, different approaches to smart glasses that we'll learn more about today. All right, so without further ado, let's get to our first speaker. Let's get Stan on. Hey, Stan, give it up.
Hello.
Really good to have you, Stan. I know you're kind of running around showing your latest smart glasses all over the world. And of course, would love to see it again at AWE this June. Take us away. Tell us about the product, and we'll have some questions at the end.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for the invite, Ori. I'm super glad to be on this panel with the other people that are going to talk. Too bad for Kelly, but maybe next time. But I mean, thank you, from the bottom of my heart to all the AR and VR community for, I think, the enthusiasm that is around LYNX, and I can share with you some slides to tell us a bit more about where we are and what we're doing. So for those of you who don't know what we're doing, we're not really making smart glasses. Smart glasses are a category of devices that are way lighter than what we're building. We're building a headset, actually. I think we can call that a headset. It's bulkier, even though our LYNX is thinner than most of the AR, VR competition. It's still a brick you put in front of your eyes. But basically, today I'm the CEO of a team of 14 engineers in Paris. So I'm actually joining you from Paris. So I had a long day. It's 11 p.m. Please be kind, okay? But yeah, I also want to thank all our partners. I don't have the time to list all of them, but it's going really, really great. Of course, I cannot thank enough the backers of the Kickstarter that we did right before AWE last year, actually. So we are making this product. We are making this fully true mixed reality device that is basically a VR headset with additional cameras in front of it. When you look at it honestly, we did not invent anything. We just tried to bring some innovation to the space, and by trying different things in optics. If you can still see my camera, you can judge that our optics is a bit crazy. We try to do new things on the software and on the ergonomics as well. So our headset is really, I'm not saying smart glasses, but our headset is really between what you know of what the Quest is today from Facebook and what you know of HoloLens as well. And the cool thing about LYNX is that it tries to do everything, good enough. We are trying to do VR, it's nothing exceptional. We are doing VR like many other headsets, but we are also doing AR, and we are doing augmented reality in a way that not a lot of other headsets can really compete on some metrics like field of view and color uniformity for what we're doing. And I think we're the first to bring that on the standalone, untethered form factor. That's a picture of a partner that came to our office and compared the field of view of HoloLens 2 with LYNX. So to give you a perspective on that, HoloLens is 52 degrees diagonal, so I think horizontal is something like 45, maybe less. And LYNX is a circle of 90 degrees. So 90 degrees horizontal, vertical, and diagonal. It's pretty large. It just has other purposes. It's a different kind of device. It's compatible with Steam VR. It's compatible with all the existing VR ecosystem. And we are also trying to bring new kind of game dynamics for augmented reality. Because as you might have noticed, there are not a lot of games on devices that look like HoloLens. And I'm sure that Jeri, right after me, will tell you something different because she's doing a different product. But for most of the AR product today, there is not a lot of games. And we're trying to change that with LYNX. We are also trying, so this was supposed to be a video, but we're trying to bring compatibility with what's existing on the market. And so I will try to describe you what you're seeing on the screen right now, but this is the distortion of our lens with the mixed reality toolkit from Microsoft behind that, running on LYNX. So our goal is to make the life of developers very easy. So I'm a developer, I come from the software world, and you should be able to compile your app if you're coming from HoloLens or if you're coming from the Quest ecosystem. And that brings us to this place today where LYNX is kind of the challenger. I think we're seen as the underdog. Many people want us to not win, but to be there at least, and that's really encouraging. And I'm overwhelmed by the support we had in the last few months. Really, I think I can share with you those pictures of the latest AWE that we did actually. I was on the Qualcomm booth, but I think we clocked between 2,000 and 3,000 demos of the headsets before delivering the first units. In a few weeks, and the feedback was extremely positive. So not only we designed a headset for manufacturing, but people are happy with it, and it's a very, very difficult thing to achieve when the competition has sometimes like 8 to 10 years of advance, and you can see products like the Quest on the market today, and it's really, really hard to compete with that, if not impossible. But on the same page, every day I have developers and users emailing us saying, we don't want to be on one or the other platform. We need someone else to enter the game, and that's what we're trying to do. So, and this is what I tell my team every day. I tell my team every day that if we fail at building what we're building at LYNX, I don't see any other team on the planet right now building a new standalone headset from scratch with the capital you need, with the resources and the expertise you need. And I don't want to fail. I really want to deliver what we're promising and what I envision for VR and AR. I mean, for mixed reality, as you understood. And I think we have this tiny window of opportunity to have another player on the market. I think there is a little bit of space left for good execution, and this is what I'm pitching you tonight. What I'm pitching to the European Commission, to many people on the planet, while making demos and proving that we can execute that. And the last show we did was actually last week. We were in Laval Virtual in France, and after I'm done talking, don't worry. But I was again overwhelmed by the support we have in my country, in France. That people are waking up to, oh, we really need another platform, and I think LYNX is a very good candidate. So I won't tell you that I'm building smart glasses because I think it's another category, but I think we're building something important that is way beyond just the plastic headset that is our version 1. We are already working on version 2. And we want to have more people on board. You are going to read about us in the news in the next 2 weeks for sure, for some new partnership with for the App Store and content deliveries. It's pretty exciting. It's a very interesting time, not only for us but for AR and VR in general. So I'm happy to answer any question.
Awesome. Thank you, Stan. That looks fantastic. I know, when I tried your headset last year, I was amazed. I mean, it looks like, it's doing a lot of the things that many other VR headsets are doing, but better. And again, I mean, it's kind of more geared for mixed reality than your typical VR headset. So in that sense, kudos for that. Let's see if we have some questions from the audience. My first question is really, kind of, if you could walk us through your thinking. There's two main options to do mixed reality or AR, right? You can do it video through or see-through. Video through with VR type headset, and see-through with waveguides or micro LEDs and some other techniques that we'll hear about today. So why did you decide to go with the video through, and what do you think are some of the advantages of taking that approach?
Because it works. And that's the snarky answer, but so optical see-through devices are approaching the idea of AR only, and making mixed reality with this approach is even more difficult. And I don't think they even solved the AR side of thing yet. Like field of view, color uniformity, outside, all these things are still yet to tackle for these people. And on the other side, you have this putting a camera in front of a headset and say, look, it works. It's a product. People are willing to pay for it. It's compatible with content. It's just here. So it was quite obvious when I started. And the cool thing, when you look at the landscape of like what's happening now, but what's happening in the next few months, is that I think we kind of want that approach, because all the new headsets coming on the market in the next 18 months will feature video pass-through, color video pass-through, like LYNX is doing. So I will have more competition, but it's some of those headsets will come from big companies that bet billions of dollars on optical see-through. Because I think, because some senior engineers for years said, guys, this is the truth, we have to achieve that. But you have like the truth, like the scientific truth for AR, and you have the product. You have something that you can sell and is working, and this is the solution today. And I think, the way I'm seeing competition today is saying, well, maybe we were right, and maybe we have some edge on what we're doing now with, kind of the hype around our headset is also coming from those big companies that are seeing value in what we're doing. So there are two ways to approach that, and I'm glad that we took the video pass-through approach.
Okay, cool. Thanks for that. So a couple of questions from our attendees. One question from Colin, and he's asking if it's possible to upgrade components on the headset, like screens.
Actually, it is. You can easily upgrade the optical blocks and the battery of the headsets. It can be serviced very, very easily with, like we can ship that to the users it's easily replaceable.
Cool. Another question from Gordon. How many HMDs are you planning to build this year, and can you really scale?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I'm willing to give my numbers. I'm pretty sure everyone knows, but we're producing batches of 4,000 headsets. So we can do that every month. And I think the goal for our version 1, what you're seeing now online, the links are one to try. We are going to build 40,000 in the full life cycle of the product, maybe even more if it's a great commercial success. But we approach that also as a version 1, as a dev kit, as bootstrapping our ecosystem. So that's the quantity we're targeting now.
Awesome. People, by the way, are loving what you do, and everybody is rooting for you. So that's a good position to be in. I have a question from Daniel, and he says, sorry. Since people have been using AR on their smart devices for over a decade now, do you think that clever consumers will be able to make the most of this work on LYNX, or will they need content creators to participate?
I mean, it's the best question. When you look at, like the most successful AR company in the world, I think right now is Apple, because all the iPhones are AR devices. They have 1 billion AR devices in the wild. And when you look at smartphones, they are video pass-through devices. The way they work, you see through a camera, it's back on a display. So it's going to be very easy to translate that, and user will have the same expectation in terms of color and results. And this is what deceived people with early optical see-through devices, because they also see AR on phones. So I think it's going to translate pretty well. And when you try AR on a smartphone, you're just thinking, wait, that could be so much better with a headset, right? And a video pass-through headset is I think is a very good solution for that particular use case.
Awesome. Okay, we have time for one quick question from Nova. What is the focal distance, and is it adjustable via eye relief or such?
So it's the focus is at infinity, and you can actually change the eye relief of the headset. There is like a slider on the headset if you're wearing glasses, or if you need to adjust the eye relief. We took care of that. So yeah, that's your answer. Fantastic.
Stan, awesome job. Thank you very much. You can hear everybody clapping. All right, well, maybe we'll come back if we have some more time later on. Let's bring up our next contestant. Give it up for Jeri Ellsworth.
Woo!
CEO of Tilt 5, many years in the works, working kind of on AR glasses. Tell us all about it and about your new launch.
Oh, thank you, Ori. I love that Stan gave a shout out to his Kickstarter backers. That's awesome. We're also Kickstarter backed, and we really adore our backers. They've been there and very supportive for us. I'm going to share some slides here. Hopefully it pops up for you guys. Great. Yeah, so I'm CEO and one of the co-founders of Tilt 5. In my DNA, I'm a gamer at heart, and so is my co-founder, Jamie. And when we founded the company, we had a discussion of what should we build as far as a system, and we wanted to build an AR system that was optimized for gaming. And so we looked at all the trade-offs of what could be done, and we decided that gaming that allows you to come together with your friends, see the magic of holograms right in front of you, would be the most interesting and the most compelling for a broader audience. And so we started optimizing our design so that it worked primarily for that. But we didn't want to just be stuck with only like board games and things like that. So we also added features to our systems that was great for video games as well. So as we look at, oops, I'm gonna click on something so I can move through slides. So we look at the system, there's a lot of advantages to our system. We have a little clever hack that I'll describe in a second, but we have one of the brightest images, the widest field of view. We've solved one of the holy grails for augmented reality, which is Vergence accommodation, which basically means that objects are in focus at the right depth. And that basically means that you can, wear the glasses for hours and hours and have a comfortable experience without eye strain, as well as the glasses are super lightweight, and it gives some benefits as well that you can have some unique gameplay that's never really been seen broadly before. Like things like in this photo, you can see there's playing cards involved, there's physical objects, multiple people looking at the game surface, and you can see your beer and chips, which is really important if you're having a group experience. So it was also really important for us that our system worked over long distances as well. So you can have groups of friends around the table playing games, but you can also have your game board connected with someone across the world and have that intimate feeling like you're together with them. And that's important. Everyone wants to come together, and that's what we strive to provide. It also does great solo experiences as well. There's a lot of games that are very appropriate for having, just this holographic top-down aesthetic, and they're very exciting to play that way. So this is the basic system. So you get the glasses, you have a magic wand that's a 6 degrees of freedom controller, lets you reach in and poke things and pick things up and move them around. Plus we have additional cameras in the headset that allow us to track physical objects, so your little meeples for a board game or a playing card, or even your hands, so you can reach in and touch the holograms. Our tracking system is millimeter precise, so that means that all of your friends sitting around the table can have a shared experience where all the objects are aligned to each other, and so when you reach in and point to something, you're actually pointing to a virtual character that everyone can see. On top of that, since everyone gets their own view into the experience, you can have some very interesting gaming experiences where you have asymmetrical views. So action games or simulation games where there's private information, like a fog of war. You can be setting up your units on your side, and your friends can't see it until the fog of war lifts, and then the action begins. So this is basically how the system works. So the little clever hack that we did was, so instead of doing displays right in front of your eyes, we decided to turn the problem inside out. And this was actually an accident. One day I stumbled onto this unique optical material called a retroreflector. And after it actually took years of kind of thinking about, this property, I realized that we could generate a light field in front of the user and solve some of the biggest problems, like occlusion, like what happens when you put your hands in front of the experience. How do you generate that light field? We can do that so that as you focus between virtual objects, they focus in and out correctly, so you have a comfortable view. And how do you get the holy grail of wide field of view? So since we use all that distance between you and the user, we can set the field of view to whatever we want. So it's a 110-degree field of view diagonal on our system, which is just way larger than any of the other video waveguide style or birdbath style AR systems. So with all of that, it allows us to do some other interesting things that are pretty difficult to do with transmissive type displays. Like, you can actually see blacks, you can see vivid colors, you can use your peripheral vision when you're looking through our system and see the action even when you're kind of looking away from our game board. So a system's no good unless you have content. So over the last few years, we've been working with dozens and dozens of third-party developers to bring applications to our system. A lot of games of various types, some that are really obvious, like board games. We have a platform called Tabletopia that has hundreds of board games on it that you can play with your friends. You can even play crossplay. If your friends don't have a Tilt 5 system yet, you can log in with your tablet or your PC and play alongside with them. Or you can play over long distances and play these games. It's really cool. A lot of action video games and puzzles and things like that. What's interesting, since we went to AWE a few months ago, we've seen a huge uptick on non-gaming applications for our systems. Folks have found our system and realized you can buy 10 of our systems for the price of others, and it solves problems for them in more professional use cases. So that's pretty exciting. Even though we're not really pushing to get content on, say the enterprise side, hundreds and hundreds of units are going out to enterprise users and professional users now. So this is the composition of the content that we're actively going after and bringing to the system. And it's interesting when you look at this, most of our content is video games, which makes me really excited because I love video games. But we also have a lot of tabletop games that you would imagine as well. And some of the really exciting content are the sandbox type experiences that bridge the gap between non-gamers and gamers. So things like Figment XR, where the whole family can come together and play with, drawing together, or importing 3D models where they have physics and you can play without being a gamer. We're excited to announce we struck a deal with Asmodee Digital. They make some of the world's best digital board games. They also represent a lot of your favorite games out there. We're not announcing the titles yet, I'm sorry, but stay tuned. Those will be launching soon, and the announcements will be coming about those. Another piece of technology is going to be coming pretty soon is the ability to stream your gameplay. So you can stream via an external webcam, put it on Twitch, do screenshots, use your phone to take a picture, and share what you're actually seeing. That's a real challenge in the XR space, is how do you represent what you're actually seeing. And this is actually a test we did on one of our D&D projects that we just played with 5 players recently. Our system has a really robust SDK. It's super easy to use. Every piece of hardware is a developer kit. So when you get it, you can immediately start developing. And the SDK is free for Unity and Unreal. And we also have a native SDK if you have a custom app and you want to integrate. We're also really proud of our real-time editing in the SDK. So for those of you that have done development for like VR systems where you actually have to build and deploy and then put the headset on and test, that's really tiring and takes a long time, and it's a long development cycle. Our system, when you hit the play button in Unity and you're wearing the glasses, you see in real time what's in your editor, and you can actually drag and drop objects and move them around and see them in real time. So it saves a ton of time, and it's super easy. It's our SDK, you can be rendering your first scene in like 5 minutes. It's basically drag and drop. So we've been shipping a lot of units. That's exciting. There's the picture of the team in the upper middle. We've been getting out into the world, going to events like AWE and GDC and a lot of meetings, and people are receiving their headsets and building things for their headsets. Super exciting. Huge lines. We were at GDC and AWE. You know, some people were waiting 30 minutes to get in to play with our system, and we almost had to pry the system off of them. You know, and you know, don't believe me. Just you can go out and see what people are saying. We really don't bullshit too much when we present what our system can do, and very commonly we get responses from people like, I didn't have high expectations for it, but it blew me away. It's like even more than what you said it was going to be. And so that's super, we're super proud of that. So what's awesome is we're building lots of units. We're going to be caught up on our backlog and our pre-orders probably around August or September. So you should go out, get reserved now, because there's a lot of reservations coming in for the headsets. So you can get in line now and get one really soon. And with that, Ori's got
look good too. I love the 80s vibe.
We put so much work into the ID.
Well with it. It's nice. So I mean, people are basically saying it blew their minds. That's what we're seeing in the chat, and tons of great questions. Let me try to walk through it. So I mean, the first question is, what board game did you grow up with as a kid?
Oh man, I wasn't much of a board game person. I mean, I probably played Uno the most. So don't take away my nerd card, but we've been playing Gloomhaven around the office and having a great time with that. It's pretty amazing.
Cool. So I mean, somebody asked if a hot glue gun is included.
Hot glue gun.
And Europe is complaining. When is it going to open in Europe? Everybody wants to get it in Ireland and all over Europe.
Actually, hang tight in Europe. As we transition from our fulfillment system to the new fulfillment system, we had to do a little bit of work to support Europe. So any day now, Europe will open up for pre-orders. That's
awesome. There was a question around what OS this device is using. And
that's a great question. I probably should have included that in my presentation. So right now we support Windows and Linux, so you can just plug into your PC. We have drivers coming that allow you to run multiple headsets from one PC. We're just testing our Android driver right now. And so any day now, once we squash enough bugs, that'll be out in the wild. And then iOS is a little bit down the road. Later in the year, we're going to start working on that. It's going to require a little adapter and some stuff.
I can't wait. Awesome. Correct question, whether you're supporting wall-mounted surfaces.
Eventually we will. Right now we were trying to focus on something. The whole goal was like flip open the game board and like you're in 30 seconds and playing. And so like putting tacks and stuff in your wall, that's a little bit more work. So we wanted to make sure that most of our experiences were like that really easy out of box experience. But there's technically nothing that's preventing us from doing that except for time and, you know, poor engineers. We're only a team of about 25 people. I'm so proud of them. We're just like, very much like Stan was saying, it's so much for a small team to get done, but it's exciting. We're getting, you know, we're getting across the finish line with all of these features.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, amazing team. So question, okay, we're getting a little technical on the divergence accommodation point you made. Is this an active solution or a nominal distance solution? If active, how do you accomplish this? This is from David. Yeah,
so it is not active. So there's a unique feature of the gain of the retroreflector and the angle in which the light is being emitted from the glasses and coming back. So within the volume of sitting around the table, the divergence accommodation is right for that particular volume. And so that was a tuning that we did in the optics.
How about multi-user cave system? Can you support that?
Someday, right? Again, it goes back to that out-of-box experience. Like, you know, my background, I love making consumer products that can, you know, reach hundreds of millions of users, and that's what I always strive for. So it's got to be like out-of-box, easy for the, you know, most common user. And then as, you know, people get the system, they start doing stuff, they can start doing, you know, really interesting stuff like caves.
Cool question. Does it work in the dark?
Yes, it does.
All right.
Yes. We actually, you know, that was one of the things that we thought about. We could have just used regular light cameras to detect the game board and the position of the user. But we felt that, you know, gamers like to play in the dark. So we actually have IR illumination in the headset that's strobing at high rates to illuminate the scene. So it works in, you know, daylight can be streaming in your room all the way down to complete darkness.
Amazing. All right, we have time for one final exciting question about logistics. And the question is whether COVID had any kind of supply issues, kind of caused any supply issues for you from VJ.
Well, we got really lucky, and kudos to our supply chain personnel that kind of saw what was coming. So critical components, we purchased those way in advance. The unexpected things for us was the inability to go to the factory for 2 years. So that slowed us down the most. So something that you could probably solve in 5 minutes if you're standing next to an operator in the factory sometimes took like 2 weeks, because we'd have to have them send us like a defective unit. We'd have to look at it and be like, oh, you forgot to put a screw in here. And it's like kind of frustrating at times that, you know, little teeny tiny problems could have been solved so quickly.
All right. Jeri, once again, thanks very much.
Thank you.
It looks like you're having an amazing launch, and we wish you to continue with this success later on, and we'll see you in June.
All righty. See you there.
All right. All right, folks. Our next speaker is from a company called Mojo Vision, which many of us have heard in the last year. Some cool announcements. Give it up for Steve Sinclair, Senior Vice President.
Thanks, Ori. Appreciate it. Thank you very much for having us. So
we're ready to be blown away once more. Take it away.
Well, I don't know if we'll blow you away, but certainly happy to be here, and especially on a panel that's called Next Generation of Smart Glasses, to be talking about smart contact lenses. So we'll jump a little ahead in the future to have this topic. I will say up front that I'm super excited about what I just saw, and a lot of the other products that are being built on the glasses and head-worn displays that are happening today. we really believe in the whole market and believe that there isn't a single solution for everyone. That's why we're building contact lenses, is we think that there's a large proportion of people that really want to have that form factor eventually. And so we're working towards that, understanding that some people are still going to choose glasses, some people are going to choose contact lenses, some people are going to choose something else that hasn't been invented yet. So it's just exciting to see all the effort that's going into building out this industry and all the folks that are on this meetup. So I am gonna share some slides, and while I do that, get this going. And just by way of introduction, yes, I'm SVP of Product and Marketing at Mojo Vision. And I've been fortunate enough to be at the company for over 5 years. We're a 6-year-old company based in Silicon Valley in Saratoga, California. We've grown a bit over the years. We're up to about 115 people. We've been fortunate enough to raise northward of $200 million. And a lot of that money, it's a lot of money. A lot of that money has gone into custom chip design and display design and elements of building out a hardware platform that just didn't exist before. And really this idea of building a display into a contact lens, as crazy as it sounds, it's totally doable with today's technology, but it is expensive to do the development that brings all of those elements that we need together into such a small form factor. And that form factor, we call it Mojo Lens. Mojo Lens is a smart contact lens. It's intended to be worn one in each eye, and it's intended to show you short bits of information that are useful to you throughout your day. So we're hard at work at trying to define and understand how people can use a device like this, not just to improve their everyday vision as a contact lens, but as an augmented reality device as well, and as a tool that can give you the right information at the right time. And we refer to that in our own vernacular. We've coined the term invisible computing because we think it's a bit broader for us, that it can cover what your smartphone can do today. It can cover what AR and VR is potentially going to be able to do. Plus, it incorporates capabilities of smart wearables as well as health tech. When you're building a platform with power and data that can go on the eye, it broadens the capabilities of what you can do with something like this. So you can, of course, use it to correct your vision. You, of course, can use it to see information in front of you. But what if it could look inward, look inside your eye, and be able to detect diseases or psychological conditions or other aspects about you that are useful to you in the moment? So we're really trying to build the long-term platform and think through how we can build something that is both valuable in the moment, but also something that's helpful to you all day long. No surprise, this is a medical device. All contact lenses are a medical device. And so we're also trying to build a company that combines the best of consumer tech as well as med tech, and trying to build the DNA into the company to pull together all the aspects you need, not just to build a great AR device, but also to build a safe and trustworthy medical device that you wear on your eyes. And so that's been a challenge for us, but it's one that we welcome. When we talk about who we're trying to build this for, of course, our ultimate goal is to build for all consumers. Anyone that wants to wear a contact lens and look like themselves and get eyes up, hands-free information should be able to do that. But you don't do that all in one shot unless you're an Apple or maybe a Meta. You have to start somewhere. And one of the places that we're starting is to help people with low vision conditions, macular degeneration, retinitis pigmentosa, glaucoma are some of the areas that we're looking at, where you're not blind, but you are losing your independence, and you're losing your ability to be mobile, to travel safely from point A to point B. And we believe we can use augmented reality overlays to help you do that, whether it's edge detection or contrast enhancement, or just being able to zoom in and out of content. And that can be done either with an image sensor that we've designed that goes into the lens itself, or it can be done with your smartphone and the camera that's built in the camera that you're already getting. Low vision is a wonderful market, and we're excited about it, but it isn't a big market. And so it's great for us to build in that market from a regulatory and from an accessibility perspective. But we also have our eyes set on that larger consumer market. And one of the stepping stones that we see ourselves taking to get there is really focusing in sports and performance activities. And so this idea that I can give a cyclist or a runner or a skier or a golfer eyes up, hands-free information while they're doing their activity is pretty important. In fact, you know, as we were talking to coaches and to athletes and to others in this space, app developers, they told us that, you know, there's so many tools that are available today to look at information before you work out or before you compete. There's lots of things you can use to reflect backwards and to improve your performance after the fact, but there really just aren't a lot of great solutions for what you can use while you're competing. It's that during moment, and really that during moment could be in sports, it could be in music, it could be in cooking, it can be in so many different places. But really, we wanted to start somewhere where we knew that the customer base was already eager for contact lenses and smart contact lenses to be specific, because athletes are already wearing contact lenses, and so it makes it very easy for us to say that story and to convince that group of folks that this is a valuable place to invest their time and their money. So it's those during data moments that we think are so important. Now I do have a video here. I think that we can share a link to the running one in the chat, but I'm going to skip over that. You can look at that at your own leisure, and we have some of these on our website as well. But the idea of getting eyes up, hands-free information while you're competing or while you're working out is what really resonates with us. And we don't see ourselves as a sports and performance or athletic company. We have plenty of partners that we can work with that can bring us that data. We've made partnerships with Adidas, to name one in particular, but we've got some others in the works that we've been working with to really understand what information is valuable to people in these moments. So we had a big announcement just a couple of weeks ago. This is a progression of the lenses that we've built over the years. Since the company started in 2015, we've built a number of different prototypes that have been worn and tested internally of varying capabilities. The one that we did in 2019 was a micro LED display, and it had wireless power and wireless data, and we could stream content to it. But this latest version, which we're calling our feature complete version, really has all the elements that we believe we need to define and to spec out a first product. So we don't call this a product. It's not ready to ship. It's not going to be something that you'll be able to go down to your optometrist and order soon. But it is something that has all the elements we need to make all the right product decisions and trade-offs that we need to really get to that final product. This happens to be a picture of the lens. This is a photograph of that feature complete prototype, and you can see that it's, you know, there's certain elements of it that still look a little raw and certainly sci-fi to be able to fit everything that we're fitting into this lens, but it all is fitting into the lens. And, you know, we expect to be wearing this lens and testing with this lens through the remainder of the year. If we just kind of explode that out so you can see sort of the elements to this, the contact lens platform that we're using is called a Scleral Lens. Contact lenses come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and most people are familiar with the soft, pliable contact lenses. But these are Scleral lenses. These are medical grade contact lenses that have existed for decades. And it turns out they were the perfect platform for us to embed electronics in, specifically being able to embed our display and all of the power and sensors and communications capabilities that we need to build into it. Something that was rigid, could sit securely on the eye, wouldn't rotate and slip around, because we're actually trying to point a tiny 0.5 millimeter display at your fovea. And so you can't have it be in a soft contact lens that can float around and slip and slide every time you blink. And so the Scleral Lens turned out to be a great platform for doing this. It is bigger than a traditional contact lens, but what it does do is it vaults over your cornea. It sits on the white of your eye, which has very few nerve endings, And it's actually quite comfortable because we cut the inside of the lens out, not only for your prescription, but to fit the shape of your eye so that it fits like a puzzle piece, and it locks into place just in the direction that it needs to be pointed to make it useful. But we've included all sorts of capabilities into the lens in this feature complete lens. So we have an accelerometer, a magnetometer, a gyroscope, all the same motion sensors that you have in your smartphone today, so that we can do eye tracking, because we've instrumented the eye so that we can track how your eye is moving, so that we can hold content in space out in the world around you. We've developed our own power management system, medical grade batteries that we've sourced and spec'd and are including into the lens as well. We have our own custom radio and radio protocol for communicating with the lens, because Bluetooth was too chatty and too power hungry. And so we had to develop our own chipset there. We have that image sensor that I talked about earlier that allows us to see in front of you and can be used for computer vision, but at its baseline, it's being used for ambient light sensing, for example. And so all of that is embedded inside the lens with a prescription cut into it so that it can improve your real vision. And then a 3D printed custom cosmetic iris that we can put over the electronics so that it can look natural when it's sitting on your eye. So at the heart of the lens is the world's smallest and densest micro display. If you know anything about micro LED displays, they are the next big thing, I think, in display technology. We believe that, and we've invested millions of dollars in defining and creating this technology. For our purposes, we needed to get the smallest pixel pitch we possibly could. And so the one you're looking at here is 1.8 micron pixel pitch. So in that less than 0.5 millimeter display that rests over your pupil, we're fitting around 260 pixels across at a density that can show you video, can show you text, can show you photography, and do it quite well. Our first device is going to be monochrome, and some people may say that that's not the best place to start, but we think that it was a good trade-off from a power and performance perspective to do that, because really what we're interested in is not creating an immersive world. We're interested in creating a useful world and giving you information in the moment that really is useful, and the monochrome green works there. We do have color in the works, and certainly we'll see that we hope in a second generation or third generation lens. And I don't know if this is coming through. This is streaming from the PowerPoint, so it might be a little jerky, but we posted this a couple of days ago when we posted our announcement about this feature complete lens, just so you can get an idea. I'm going to play that again so you can see what's happening here. Basically, the lens is sitting on your eye, and it moves with your eye. So when others talk about, I'm going to pause right there. When others talk about field of view, we don't talk about it in that way, because the display is always centered over your fovea. So as the lens is moving around and your eyes are moving around, the content stays centered over what you're doing. I'm going to go to the next slide here, and you can see this one. And so by that, I mean you have about a 15-degree spotlight that is always visible on your eye. And if you try and look at the edge of the spotlight, it moves with your eye, because those IMUs, those motion sensors, are constantly tracking how your eye is moving and moving the content so that it looks stable in front of you in space. And so with that in mind, we're able to paint the world anywhere you're looking. So if you move your eyes to the left, you're going to see content. If you move your eyes to the right, you can't look beyond the field of view of our display, because it's always centered over your eyes. And with that, I'm going to stop presenting.
Mind blown. Everybody in the chat is saying this is crazy amazing. Thank you, Steve, for sharing the latest with us. So when we first met at our lab in Brooklyn 3 years ago, one of my, I think was my maybe first question was around the camera, because for AR, if you want to register the content on reality, you got to have a camera. So what's your answer today?
Well, we built a small image sensor to go in the lens, and that is primarily for the edge detection and contrast enhancement we're using for our low vision use case. But it doesn't prevent us from potentially using that for computer vision and context, essentially. It could also be used if we needed it for even better eye tracking, but I think the way we've instrumented the eyes, that's not necessary for that. And so we're going to test with it. Whether it makes it into the first product or a future product, we'll see. We really have to be careful about the privacy implications of something like that and think through the ramifications of having something like that. We Mojo don't want to have access to that information. And I don't think consumers want us to have access to that information of what you're looking at. And so it's really, the bar has to be super high for us to be putting something like that into the product.
Cool. So we have just 4 minutes and a bunch of questions. Let's try to go through it quickly. First question is, where does compute happen?
Compute is happening off the lens. We built an accessory we call a relay that can sit like a neckband around your neck, and it has the custom radio that can talk to the lens and communicate to the lens. It's got a processor on it and does the compute. It in turn can talk to your smartphone, or it can talk to the cloud directly via a radio.
And what's the battery life?
Battery life, I wish I knew that answer for sure, but as long as possible. No, our goal is for you to put the lens on in the morning and wear it all day. So we do really want to strive for all day. Of course, all day means, different things to different people. But, right now, if you were to, pin me down, we're aiming for 2 hours of continuous full-on use. But when you start to parse that out and duty cycle and use it for different things throughout the day, we expect to make that last quite a bit longer.
Cool. It was an interesting question. How do you sync the two lenses?
How do you sync the two lenses? Well, so we're streaming content to both of them at the same time. And so we have to, there's an error correction process that has to go in place to make sure that what you're seeing is actually in sync between the two lenses. That's certainly an important challenge. We're making that, closing that loop between how your eye is moving and the motion that we capture to deciding what next frame of information to show you. That has to be really, really fast, and it's under 10 milliseconds. And so we're working very hard to make sure that we have no lag between the lenses, but no lag in how your eyes are moving in the content that you're seeing.
Cool. And since you showed a lot of sports-related use cases, how about swimmers? Did it work?
Well, I think you would have to wear it under a pair of goggles, and we could build our relay accessory into a pair of goggles. But there are great solutions like the form glasses that I think are amazing as well. So those are good too.
Cool. And there's a bunch of other quick questions. So maybe jump from the chat for a little bit after. Like, can you blink with it?
Yeah, you can blink with it. You actually control the user experience with your eyes, which I hope to have a demo I can show you in person when you come to AWE and I see you there. It's all about using your eyes. It's not about gestures or voice or anything else. You just use your eyes. And it works with your eyes closed. So you can close your eyes and still see content. So you can go into a virtual world.
Can you see VR when you close your eyes?
You can see VR when you close your eyes.
That's the idea, right?
Yeah.
Awesome, Steve. That was amazing. Thank you very much for joining. We have just 1 minute, so let's get all the speakers back up for a quick thank you and maybe last-minute questions. Once again, Stan, Jeri, Steve, thank you so much for joining us today to show us next generation mixed reality glasses, smart glasses, contact lens. We have the whole gamut today. So really appreciate it. And you're all going to be at AWE this June. So folks, if you want to check it out, this is the place, plus many more smart glasses that will be there. So really excited. Any last minute, last words?
Thanks for having us. This was awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, good night, Stan. It's pretty late there. Thank you all for joining us. And if you have more questions, I guess we can continue to discuss it in the chat here. So thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.